Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Top Coin. If you're a coin collector, history lover, or just someone who enjoys finding treasure in everyday places like your change jar or your old coin collection, then you are in for a treat today. Because in this video, we're diving deep into the story behind the 1986 Canadian 5-cent coin. Yes, that small nickel you might just overlook could actually be worth a lot more than you think. And I don't mean a few cents over face value. I mean serious money for the right coin in the right condition. So stay with me till the very end because we'll not only explore the coin's origin, design, and symbolism, but we'll also break down why certain 1986 nickels are worth hundreds, sometimes even more, on the current market. You'll learn how to spot the rare ones, what collectors are paying top dollar for, and how to determine if your coin is just spare change or a hidden treasure. Let's get started. To understand why the 1986 Canadian 5-cent coin might be valuable, we first need to look at its history. The Canadian 5-cent coin, also known simply as the nickel, has a long and fascinating history that goes all the way back to 1858, when the very first Canadian nickels were minted. But the modern version, the one most people are familiar with today, really began taking shape in the 20th century. By 1986, the 5-cent coin had already become a familiar part of Canadian pocket change, but it was also a time of subtle changes and growing interest among collectors. The coin from this specific year holds value not just for what it is, but for how it fits into the broader timeline of Canadian numismatic history. In 1986, the coin was minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, as usual, and was struck in a copper-nickel alloy, giving it that traditional silvery appearance. It weighs 4.54 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, standard specs for a Canadian nickel of the time. Now let's talk about the two key sides of the coin. The obverse of the coin, that's the front, features the classic effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, who was 60 years old in 1986. This portrait was designed by Arnold Machin, one of the most iconic engravers of royal coinage. This version of the Queen's portrait was used from 1965 to 1989 and is well known to Canadian collectors. Flip the coin over and you'll find the reverse, which features a beaver, an iconic Canadian symbol. The image of the beaver sitting on a log in the middle of a body of water is not just cute or symbolic, it's deeply rooted in Canadian history. Designed by G. Kruger Gray, this image has appeared on Canadian nickels since 1937 and represents the nation's industrious spirit and natural wildlife. The word Canada arcs above the beaver, and below, you'll see the year 1986 and the denomination 5 cents. So far, sounds like a standard nickel, right? But here's where it gets interesting. So, what makes this coin potentially valuable? There are three major factors to consider: rarity, condition, and errors or varieties. Let's go through each. Rarity. While the Royal Canadian Mint produced tens of millions of these coins in 1986, around 107 million to be exact, not all coins are created equal. Many were heavily circulated, scratched, or damaged. But a few escaped into private hands in pristine condition, and those can be extremely valuable today. Coins in mint state condition, especially those graded MS65 or higher, are much rarer than you think. Only a small fraction of the original mintage survives in that condition. Condition: the better the condition, the higher the price. That's a universal rule in coin collecting. If your 1986 5-cent coin is shiny, with sharp details, and has never been circulated, it could be worth far more than 5 cents. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC and given high grades, like MS66, MS67, or even MS68, can sell for $50 to $300 or more, depending on demand. Errors and varieties. Now this is where things get even more exciting. Some 1986 Canadian nickels have mint errors, and these are pure gold for collectors. Common errors include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, die cracks, repunch dates. If you find a coin with one of these features, especially in high-grade condition, you could be looking at a value of hundreds, maybe even over $1,000, depending on the rarity of the error and the market demand. So how much are people really paying for these coins? Let's look at some actual sales on auction sites and numismatic markets. A 1986 Canadian 5-cent coin graded MS67 by PCGS sold recently for around $250 at auction. Another with a repunch date variety fetched over $400. Coins with off-center strikes have been seen listed for $100 to $500, depending on how dramatic the error is. Even ungraded, brilliant uncirculated coins have sold on platforms like eBay for $10 to $30. So yes, the 1986 Canadian nickel might still show 5 cents on its face, but on the collector's market, it can be worth 100 times more, or even higher if it's the right coin. Here's what to do right now. Grab your change jar, your coin collection, or any old coins passed down from family. Look for the 1986 5-cent coin. That's your target. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and check for sharpness of the design. Look for mint luster, minimal scratches, and clarity in the queen's portrait and the beaver's fur. Search for error features, doubled letters, off-center edges, or unusual cuts and marks. If it looks promising, consider sending it to a professional grading service. So there you have it, the humble 1986 Canadian 5-cent coin, a tiny piece of metal with a big story. It's a reminder that treasure doesn't always look like gold bars or antique chests. Sometimes, it's hiding right in your pocket change. The next time you go through your coins, take a closer look. Because while most people toss nickels aside, collectors are searching, bidding, and paying big money for that perfect 1986 coin. If you found this video helpful or exciting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the world of coins and collectibles. And leave a comment below if you found any rare coins in your collection. I'd love to hear about it. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a single coin video that could literally change your life. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but trust me, there's more than meets the eye. We're talking about the 1993 Canadian 5-cent coin. That's right, the humble nickel. You may have one lying around, but did you know that some of these coins can be worth way more than just 5 cents? Stick around, because we're going to explore the history, design, mintage numbers, special varieties, collector interest, and the current market value of this small yet potentially valuable coin. Let's dig in. The story of the Canadian 5-cent coin dates back to the 19th century, but for our focus today, we zoom in on the 1993 edition. Now, the 5-cent coin in Canada, commonly known as the nickel, has a long and fascinating legacy. Since 1922, it has been made primarily from nickel, although in later years, other metals like steel were introduced due to rising costs and economic reasons. By 1993, the nickel had become a staple in Canadian pockets. It features the classic image we all know, a beaver sitting on a rock surrounded by water. The beaver has long been a symbol of Canada's industrious spirit and rich fur trading history. Designed by George Edward Kruger Gray, the beaver image has remained largely unchanged since its debut on the coin back in 1937. But 1993 wasn't just another year. It was a year of subtle changes and key details that have caught the eyes of serious collectors. So what makes this coin special? Let's talk about the physical appearance of the 1993 Canadian 5-cent coin. On the obverse, or front side, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Dora de Pedrihunt, the first woman to design a Canadian coin featuring the Queen. Her detailed engraving captures the regal and timeless image of the monarch. Facing to the right. On the reverse, we see the iconic Canadian beaver, sitting on a log, with the words 5 cents, the year 1993, and the word Canada etched above and below. This classic imagery evokes a sense of Canadian heritage and craftsmanship. The coin has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, weighs around 4.6 grams, and is made of nickel, although it's worth noting that later years would introduce plated steel versions due to cost-saving efforts by the Royal Canadian Mint. Here's where things get really interesting. In 1993, the Royal Canadian Mint produced more than 86 million 5-cent coins. That's a big number, right? At first glance, it sounds like this coin should be common, and generally speaking, Yes, most 1993 nickels are worth face value. But, and this is a big but, not all 1993 nickels are created equal. In the world of coin collecting, condition and variety make all the difference. Some 1993 5-cent coins were minted with slight differences or errors that have become highly sought after by collectors. Coins with minting errors, such as double strikes, die cracks, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws, are extremely rare and can be worth many times their face value. There have also been reports of proof-like specimens that were not intended for circulation but somehow made their way into the public. These coins often have a mirror-like finish and exhibit sharp details, and collectors will pay a premium for them. So what exactly should you be looking for? First, check the condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state, MS70. A regular 1993 nickel in average circulated condition might be worth its face value, but an uncirculated coin graded MS65 or higher could fetch anywhere from $2 to $10. And that's just for a standard issue. Now, if you come across a coin with an error, say a die crack across the queen's face, a misaligned strike, or even a double date, you could be looking at a coin worth $20, $50, or even over $100, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. And don't overlook proof-like specimens, especially those in original mint packaging. These can command prices of $30 to $75 or more, especially if graded by third-party services like PCGS or NGC. Alright, let's talk dollars. The current market for 1993 Canadian 5-cent coins is surprisingly active. While the vast majority of circulated coins trade hands at or near face value, high-grade specimens and rare varieties have sold for serious cash. For example, an MS67 graded 1993 5-cent coin has been known to fetch $50 to $100 at auction. That's over 1,000 times its face value. Coins with verified mint errors have sold for $200 or more, especially if certified and encapsulated. Online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and even local coin shows have seen a rise in interest for 1990s-era Canadian coins, particularly those that have maintained pristine condition over the past 3 decades. So yes, a 5-cent coin from 1993 might still be worth just a nickel, or it might be worth hundreds. It all depends on what you've got in your hand. Now, if you're hoping to find one of these valuable coins, here are some quick tips. Search your old coin jars or rolls. You never know what's hiding in plain sight. Use a magnifying glass to check for small die cracks, doubling, or other errors. Look for proof-like finishes. These are often shinier, with sharper detail and stronger luster. Store high-grade coins properly. Use acid-free holders or flips to prevent damage. And if you think you've found something special, get it graded by a reputable company like PCGS or ICCS. Even if you're new to coin collecting, this is a fantastic area to start. The 1993 Canadian nickel might just surprise you. So there you have it, folks. The complete story of the 1993 Canadian 5-cent coin. It's more than just a tiny piece of metal. It's a symbol of Canadian heritage, a treasure for collectors, and a potential payday for the lucky few who find the right coin. Have you ever come across a rare 1993 nickel? Do you have a coin with an unusual feature or error? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more numismatic adventures, and share this video with your fellow coin collectors. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell because today, we are diving deep into the story of a coin that might be hiding in your drawer, your change jar, or even your pocket. It's small, it's shiny, it's Canadian, and some versions of it could be worth a surprising amount of money. That's right, we're talking about the 2009 Canadian 5-cent coin. Now don't let its small size fool you. Behind that nickel lies a fascinating story of Canadian history, design heritage, and even rare varieties that collectors are going crazy for. Stick with me until the end because we're going to explore not just its origin and mintage, but the real-world value this coin can fetch today on the collector's market. And trust me, if you've got the right one, it could be worth way more than 5 cents. Let's start with the story. The 5-cent coin, known affectionately as the nickel, in Canada, has a long and evolving history. Since its introduction in the mid-1800s, the nickel has undergone numerous changes in design, metal composition, and symbolism. Fast forward to 2009, and Canada was celebrating a significant milestone. That year marked the 100th anniversary of the birth of Canadian engineer Georges-Étienne de Barats. But more importantly for coin lovers, it was one of the last years before a new generation of coinage materials and minting technology began to change the face of Canadian money. The 2009 Canadian 5-cent coin features the classic beaver design created by G. Kruger Gray, which has been a staple of Canadian nickels since 1937. The reverse shows a beaver calmly perched on a rock, with the water flowing gently beneath, a symbol of Canadian wildlife, industry, and patience. On the obverse side, we find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which has been present on Canadian coinage since her coronation in 1953. The 2009 version features the fourth portrait of the Queen, designed by Susanna Blunt, known for its elegance and simple realism without a crown. So how many of these 2009 nickels were actually made? In 2009, the Royal Canadian Mint produced millions of 5-cent coins for circulation. Specifically, more than 78 million were struck. At first glance, this might not seem rare at all. But the story doesn't end there. You see, within that massive batch, some nickels stand out, either due to minting errors, condition, or special varieties that were produced in limited quantities. Some of these coins were struck with exceptional precision and retained their shine, while others were mistakenly made with doubling on the date or other details. It's these rarities that get coin collectors talking and paying. Let's talk about value, because that's what everyone wants to know. While a regular, circulated 2009 Canadian 5-cent coin might still be worth only face value, if you've got one in mint state condition, or even better, one with a mint error, things start to get really interesting. Here are some valuable varieties and errors you should look out for. 1. Double die errors. Some 2009 nickels have been found with doubling on the digits of the date, especially the 9. This error happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, resulting in a doubling effect. Depending on the clarity of the doubling and the coin's condition, these can sell for $10 to $50 or more. 2. Off-center strikes. If your coin was struck off-center, meaning the design is shifted and not fully aligned, this minting mistake can significantly boost the coin's value. These types of errors are quite collectible and can fetch $20 to over $100 depending on the severity of the misalignment. 3. High-grade coins, MS65 and above, coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they show no signs of wear and still have their original luster, are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A 2009 Canadian 5-cent coin graded MS65 or higher can be worth $5 to $15, while an exceptionally pristine example can go for even more at auction. 4. Proof-like and specimen coins. Some 2009 nickels were included in proof sets or specimen sets sold to collectors. These coins were specially struck using polished dies and high-quality blanks, resulting in a beautiful mirror-like finish. These versions can be worth $10 to $30 or more, especially if they remain sealed in their original packaging. Now let's look at what these coins are actually selling for in today's market. We've scoured online auction sites, coin dealer listings, and collector forums to bring you the real numbers. A 2009 Canadian 5-cent coin graded MS67 recently sold for around $35 at an online auction. A proof-like version from a Royal Canadian Mint set was listed for $15 Canadian and was snapped up quickly by a collector. An off-center strike example with visible rim doubling was sold for $75 to a serious error collector. Even regular uncirculated rolls of 2009 nickels are now being sold for $8 to $12 per roll, especially if they're sealed and unsearched. If you've got a jar of coins lying around, now's the perfect time to dig through it. Look for that 2009 nickel. Check the date, check the rim, look for doubling, inspect the condition under a light. You might just be sitting on a hidden gem. If you think you've found something special, consider taking it to a local coin dealer or submitting it for grading through a service like ICCS, International Coin Certification Service, or PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service. A certified coin can sell for much more than an ungraded one, especially to serious collectors, and if you're just starting your collecting journey, the 2009 Canadian 5-cent coin is a great place to begin. It's affordable, accessible, and full of historical value, not to mention the thrill of the hunt for those rare errors. So there you have it, the full story behind the 2009 Canadian 5-cent coin. What looked like just another coin turns out to be a potential treasure, packed with history, hidden rarities, and real-world value. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, share it with your fellow coin lovers, and leave a comment below. Have you found a rare 2009 nickel? Got a coin story to share? I'd love to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe because we've got more amazing coin videos coming your way. From silver dimes to legendary pennies worth thousands, there's a whole world of hidden money out there, and it might be closer than you think. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and keep that treasure hunter spirit alive. See you in the next video.